session today. So for our guest speaker, we have Mr. Loh Chip Kun, who is the Vice President of Earth Society based in Singapore. So he was a teacher in charge of an environment club in a local school from 2008 until 2011. And then subsequently, from 2012 to 2013, Mr. Loh wrote quarterly articles for the Singapore Chinese newspaper, which is called 联合早报, which features issues such as global warming, world hunger, water shortage, overfishing, biodiversity losses, etc. So from 2008 until currently, Mr. Loh has studied various international reports from various sources, such as the UN, NASA, WWF, WWI on climate change, and conducted more than 100 environmental talks in schools, companies, and NGOs. So they have been studying on global warming and solutions to climate change since the end of 2007. So Mr. Loh and the Earth Society team believes that when people are informed, many people will make lifestyle changes to protect the planet, as well as conserve the food and water resources on our planet. So without further ado, I will hand the floor over to Mr. Loh to conduct his presentation for us. Mr. Loh, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm Mr. Loh from Earth Society, and we'll give a short talk, a talk on biodiversity loss. Okay, thank you very much. Just let's see. Okay, this is on, and this is Windows.
So while Mr. Loh is setting up the presentation, in case anyone has any questions, we will be having 15 minutes of buffer time for Q&A. But if there is a question which you may forget later, you may want to put that in the chat box, and I'll help Mr. Loh with the comment part of it.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we can start the presentation. Can all of you see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm from Earth Society, and this is our symbol here. Okay, Earth Society. We study environment issues such as climate change and biodiversity loss and solutions to environmental degradation. So we also promote environmental awareness to the public and encourages actions to protect the environment. Okay. So we do things like free school assembly talks where we talk to whole schools, like 500 students or even 1,000 students, or some of them is about 300 students. We also do free company talks like the one we are giving now, and also we go to companies to do it on site as well. We also do online talks and for companies to schools. We also do booths in eco events and project with schools. And the top picture here is we have a talk at Infinite company, and there's about 100 plus people attending the talk on site. Okay, and this is actually a booth event we have at Singapore Expo last year, December last year, where we have a booth and we give up leaflets asking people to reduce meat consumption to help to reduce climate change. And this is an online talk in the school, and this is an on-site talk in a secondary school where these students, they're having an assembly, and we do a 40 minutes talk in the assembly. This, we also do projects with polytechnic students. Some of them write to us to ask about eco projects. So this is for 2022 last year. We actually did 7 projects with the 7 teams, and they do things like eco comics and also do things like eco Instagram. And this, they promote things like Meatless Monday and also reduce meat consumption to help to protect the environment. Okay. So without further ado, let's start the talk on biodiversity loss. So this is a short clip on biodiversity loss.
Mr. Loh, in case there is sound, you may want to share it with computer sound.
Oh, you all can't hear the sound, is it?
No, we cannot hear the sound.
Okay, just wait for a while.
So
I will just...
You may want to unshare your screen and share with computer sound.
Yeah, okay, Cam. I just do the share with computer sound. Just wait for a while. Include computer sound, and it should be, yeah, this one. Okay, let's try.
Yes.
Are you able to hear the sound?
No, I'm not able to hear it. No.
Oh, you're not able to hear the sound.
No.
Okay, let me see. I already shared the sound. Okay, never mind. Let me just take a look. I try again. If not, then if there's no sound, then I'll just shorten the video lah. Just wait for a while. And we try this. This is more than down here. I'll do a quick check down here. Okay. Share.
So there'll be a button which says share with sound.
Include computer sound, yeah.
Yes,
I did click
computer
that.
sound.
Let me see. Okay, let me see. Try again. Let's try again. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's try again. Can you hear?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
When we talk about biodiversity, we talk about life on Earth. When we talk about biodiversity loss, we are talking about destroying life on Earth.
Biodiversity is sometimes in the shadow of the climate change, which is extremely important, but we should understand that biodiversity is actually the other side of the same coin.
Biodiversity. It is the foundation of life on Earth.
Human well-being is intertwined fundamentally with biodiversity.
So we can see that biodiversity is very important for the Earth, because without the good biodiversity, then we may lose a lot of ecosystem. We may also have not enough food and water resource for the planet. Okay, but currently it's a very sad situation. We can see from the 1970s until 2016. This is from WWF World Wildlife Fund report in 2020. It tells us that about 70% of the world's animal population is lost because of habitat loss due to deforestation, pollution, and excessive human activities such as overfishing. So humans' consumption of food and water resource now is exceeding the world's capacity to regenerate by 56%. What it means is that we are using the equivalent of 1.5 planets to support our activities. Okay, although we only have one planet, but we're using the equivalent of 1.5 planets to support our activities. So we are actually eating into the reserves of the planet. Okay, so if we continue all this usage, we will find that by 2030, humanity will need the capacity of 2 Earths to absorb CO2 waste and keep up with the natural resource consumption. So we don't have 2 Earths, so we have to try to reduce our consumption to 1 Earth so that we can have enough for everybody. Okay, and for this year, the Earth Overshoot Day is in 2023, 2nd of August. That means by 2nd of August, we have actually used up all the resource that the Earth can regenerate within a year. So from 2nd August onwards until end of this year, we're actually eating into the reserves of the Earth. Okay, so we are overusing the Earth's resources. So we're now facing the 6th mass extinction. We can say that we have about 1 million species that is at the risk of going extinct. Okay, and the last mass extinction is 5th mass extinction, is 66 million years ago, where the dinosaurs are wiped out. Okay, but now we are already facing the 6th mass extinction now. Okay, so you can see more than half of our natural systems are lost. That is due to deforestation, overfishing, and all this. So scientists recommend we should protect 30% of the planet's ocean and land by 2030. Okay, currently only about 6% to 10% of the land and ocean are actually protected. So they are looking at increasing it to 30% protection by 2030. Okay, so if you look at biodiversity, there are 5 drivers that is causing a lot of biodiversity loss. First is habitat loss, land and sea use change. And they tell us that agriculture, which is growing food and also growing things like oil palm, actually is responsible for 80% of global deforestation. So mainly the forest that has been cut down, 80% of it is due to growing food and also growing cows and also growing oil palm, for example. Okay, and pollution is another one. Species exploitation like overfishing is killing the oceans, and we have climate change that is driving a lot of animal species loss as well, and invasive species. Okay, so if you look at how much animals are killed for food each year, it's a very astronomical number. It's a big number. We have about 8 billion humans on the planet, but we kill 1,500 billion fishes. Okay, and about 80 billion land animals. So we kill 100 times more fishes, a few hundred times more fishes, and 10 times more land animals every year for food. So we actually are killing a lot of animals for just to eat each year. So it's a big number. Okay, and if you look at the state of our planet, we have the three states: the ocean, the air, and the land, and we will look at each of them. So for the ocean, it's about 50% of our world's corals are lost, and corals are actually habitat for the fish. So when the corals are lost, the fish lost their home, and a lot of fish actually died, and some go even extinct. And there are now about 400 dead zones in the ocean, and it used to be 200 dead zones in the 1990s. Okay, and currently about 90%, 87% of fish stocks in the world's ocean are either fully exploited or overexploited. That means we are fishing the fishes more than they can reproduce. Okay, so 90% is unsustainable fishing. Only 13% of the fish stocks are in healthy condition. And 90% of large fishes in the ocean, like whales and sharks, 90% of them is already gone. We are left with only 10% of sharks and whales in the ocean compared to in the 1900s. So this is a short clip on overfishing.
We are fighting a war against fish, right? And we are winning.
At one level, it's a question of how bad is it?
Man is not going to change, and the sea going to be dead.
So what happens is we are fishing the oceans much more than what they can reproduce. And currently our commercial fishing boats are very huge. They actually use machines to put the nets down onto the ocean, and they trawl the nets all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, and they trawl the whole ocean. And this causes a lot of damage to the ocean. And in fact, it's a big waste of life, because this huge catch from commercial fish boat, more than half of the catches are actually thrown back to the ocean. So can you imagine you catch the fish up and you put it on the boats for 1 hour, for example, and then you throw it back, what happens? Most of the fish on the deck will be dead. Okay, so more than half of these fishes actually has no commercial value, and actually they died and they throw it back to the ocean. So this is a very much waste of life, and basically it's very wasteful. Okay, and more than half of the catches are thrown back to the ocean, and most of them are all dead. And this is a very bad way of fishing. You can see the net area now of fishing boat can cover 13,747. Okay, the net areas of the fishing fleet can actually cover 13 aeroplanes. So that's why the fish has nowhere to run, and they are caught in all the fish nets. Okay, so since 1950s, fishing catch has increased fivefold, from 18 to 100 million metric tons a year, and 1 ton is 1,000 kg. So it's now about 100 million metric tons a year. So we actually kill about 1 to 2.7 trillion wild fishes every year. That's a huge amount of fish killed. And the current commercial fishing is not sustainable. If we carry on, there may be no fish in the ocean by 2048, which is in a few decades time. Okay, so they're saying protect the world's ocean. Currently, about 6% of the world's ocean is protected. They want to increase the protection area to 30% by 2030. Okay, so we hope they can increase the protected oceans from 6% to 30% by 2030. Okay, so what can we do? We can eat less fish, especially big fish like tuna, sharks, fins, and all this, to help to reduce the overfishing in the ocean. Okay. Now you can watch a documentary on Netflix. It's called Seaspiracy, and this is a movie on overfishing. You can watch it in Netflix, and I think you can watch some of it in YouTube as well. Okay. Now let's look at forests and land. Now to date, about half of the world's rainforest has been deforested. Okay, half is lost. And if you cut down another 25% or 30% more, then the remaining one cannot survive. Now, worldwide deforestation rate is about 36 football fields per minute. And in Amazon, we are cutting the ancient trees at 10 football fields per minute. And livestock industry, which is growing cows, is a major driver of deforestation in Brazil and Amazon. Okay, and you can see deforestation worldwide, 2018, 2019, Brazil is the biggest deforesting country. Okay, they cut down about 1.3 million hectares of forest per year. Okay, the next one is DRC. It's Africa, Republic of Congo. It's 400,000. So it's actually only about 1/3 of what Brazil cut. Okay, so Brazil is the top rainforest deforesting country in the world. And they actually cut down the forest to grow cattle. And nowadays it's also to grow feed crops like soybean, and these feed crops, the soybean is usually feed to cattle as well. So 80% of the destroyed Amazon is actually due to cattle ranching and also to grow feed crops like soybean to feed the animals. Okay, so if you eat one hamburger, it's like cutting 6 square meters of forest. That's about the size of your kitchen at home. So anybody who just eat one hamburger, you're cutting the forest about the size of your kitchen at home. So if anybody eat 4 hamburgers, you're cutting rainforest the size of a classroom. That's why they say if you want to protect the rainforest, please don't eat beef, okay? So that's why world famous billionaire like Sir Richard Branson, he says he have given up eating beef to protect the environment, to reduce deforestation. Okay, so one thing we can do is to give up eating beef. Okay, if you look at the world's agricultural land, it is also very surprising. Okay, you find that all the food that humans eat, including your rice, your vegetables, your fruits, your pineapple, bananas, and all these, all the fruits that and all the food that humans eat is grown only on 30% of the world's agricultural land. The other 70% is given to the animals. Okay, basically 35% is used as grassland to feed the cows and the lambs, and the other 35% is used to grow corn and soybean, and they use it as feed crops to feed the animals. So 30% of the world's agricultural land is used for humans' use, the other 70% is given to the animals. Okay, so this is a very imbalanced situation. Okay, United Nations and some of the world scientists recommend, why don't we reduce the livestock population by half? Instead of 80 billion land animals, you cut it down to 40 billion animals. If you do that, you can free up 35% of the world's agricultural land to grow forests. Okay, so you still have 30% of the world's agricultural land to produce food for humans, like your rice and your fruits. Okay, then 35% of the world's agricultural land will be freed up because you have less land needed to be given to the livestock. Okay, and you can actually grow forests here, and that will help to absorb a lot of CO2, and that will also protect the animals and bring back biodiversity. Okay, and you will have 35% of the world's agricultural land for grassland and food for the animals. Okay, so this is a very good solution and a cheap solution as well. Okay, now let's take a look at the world's food resource. You can see we have 8 billion humans, but we feed 80 billion land animals. Okay, and currently world hunger figure is about 1 billion. That means 1 in 7 of us is having not enough food to eat. But currently more than half of the world's crops, more than half of the world's food is channeled to feed the animals, not humans. Okay, and it's very inefficient to feed the crops to animals because it takes about 2 to 3 kg of grains to produce 1 kg of chicken, but it takes about 9 to 10 kg of grains to produce 1 kg of beef. So 10 kg of grains or 9 kg of grain can feed more than 9 people. But if you change it to beef, you can only feed one person only. Okay, so that is why it is very inefficient to change the world's crops into meat and then eat the meat itself. Okay, so we have enough food to feed everybody, but 1 billion people go hungry and 1 billion people overeat. So the world's people is eating about 40 kg of meat per person per year on average. But in Singapore, we're eating about 70 to 80 kg. So we're eating double. But Europe and America, they're eating about 100 to 120. So they're eating about triple the global average. So that's very bad. If we eat more and more meat down the road, by 2050, the whole world need to produce 70% more food. Now with climate change and with fluctuating food supply, we know that maintaining our current food production is a big issue already. Not to talk about increasing it by 70%. It's impossible. So United Nations says if the wealthy nations were to reduce our meat consumption by half, then we can actually free up enough food to feed another 1.2 billion people. So United Nations is asking the wealthy nations like America, Europe, Singapore, okay, everybody to reduce meat consumption by half. If you do that, you can free up food to feed another 1.2 billion people. Okay, and Singapore, the Health Promotion Board has started to promote this My Healthy Plate in 2014. And if you look closely, they only say 1 portion of meat per meal. 1 portion should be meat or tofu for proteins. 1 portion should be rice or bread. Another 1 portion is fruits, and another 1 portion is veggie. So a lot of Singaporeans people were eating 2 portions of meat for lunch and dinner. For example, 1 portion of fish, 1 portion of chicken, and 1 veggie and 1 rice. So 2 meat, 1 veggie. So Health Promotion Board is telling us that's not healthy. Why don't you reduce your meat to 1 portion per meal? So instead of 1 fish, 1 chicken, change it to only 1 fish, 2 veggie, or 1 chicken, full veggie. If you do that, it's healthier for you. and it's better for the planet. You reduce your meat consumption by half. Okay. Now, if you look at factory farms, you find that nowadays we have 80 billion animals grown for food, but out of these 80 billion animals, 70% of them, the majority of them, are now produced in very congested concentration camp style factory farms. Okay, so you can see this is a matrix. It's actually a YouTube video on factory farms.
Have you heard of the matrix?
Very short.
The matrix? Do you want to know what it is?
Okay.
The matrix is all around you, Leo. It is the story we tell ourselves about where meat and animal products come from. This family farm is a fantasy. Take the blue pill and stay here in the fantasy. Take the red pill and I'll show you the truth. Welcome to the real world.
Wow! What is this horrible place?
This is a factory farm, Leo. Places like this are where most eggs, milk, and meat come from.
How did this happen?
I'll show you. In the mid-20th century, greedy agriculture corporations began modifying sustainable family farming to maximize their profits at great cost to both humans and animals. Factory farming was born. Animals are packed as closely together as possible. Most never see sunlight, touch ground, or get fresh air. Many can't even turn around. These cruel conditions cause fights and disease amongst the animals. To fix this, the corporate machine began systematic mutilations, practices such as debeaking chickens. And they started adding a constant dosage of antibiotics to their feed.
So what we can see is nowadays the farming system is very different from 50 years ago. Nowadays the chickens, and they actually never see the sunlight from the day they're born until the day they die. Okay, so this is a chicken factory farm where thousands of chickens are crammed in these bird sheds, and a lot of them never see sunlight from the day they're born until the day they die. And their life is actually shortened. In the kampong chicken, where the chickens are running around, the chickens grow about 100 days before they can be big enough to be killed. But in this factory farm style, they actually grow to the same size in 40 days. So in 40 days, they grow to that size. And when you go to the farms, you find that most of the chickens are squatting down because they grow so fast that their leg cannot take their weight. So all the chickens there are squatting down because they grow too fast. Okay, and now you can find that they reduce the production time to 1/3 of what it used to be. Instead of 100 days, they reduce it down to 40 days. But most of the chickens are unhealthy, and it's a very sad condition for the animals. Okay, and pig farms also, you can find that they're all in cages. And again, they never see sunlight from the day they're born until the day they die. And all of them are actually suffering a lot. Okay, and cattle feeds is where the cows, they don't feed on grass. They actually bring in lorries and give them soya beans, and they eat down there. Okay, so it's cattle feed lots where thousands of cows are in there. So factory farm is a big problem because it produces tons and tons of manure, which cause a lot of land and water pollution. And in America, the animal factory farm produces about 907 million tons of animal waste in 1 year. So it's 130 times that of human waste. And the packed and unhealthy conditions of animals in factory farms is a big breeding ground for disease to mutate. So swine flu H1N1 actually starts in a factory farm in Mexico. And bird flu H1N5 also starts from factory farm. So the more factory farms you have, the more disease humans will get. Okay. So you can see that in these large factory farms, animals are being fed with an unnatural diet with growth hormones, which make them grow faster, and antibiotics. Okay. So the previously chickens need to be fed to be about 4 months before they can grow big enough for slaughter. But nowadays, with all these diets, they actually grow to the same size in 40 days. Okay, so you can see these animals are growing in very unnatural condition, and most of them are unhealthy. So how can we be healthy if we are eating all the unhealthy animals? Okay, so we must stop this type of factory farms. So we can avoid buying meat from factory farms. Okay, for example, the brands like Tyson Chicken, Smithfield Fox, Cudgel, and Swift, they're actually big meat brands. They have their own factory farms. And avoid eating meat at McDonald's and Kentucky, the fast food restaurants, because they run their own factory farms as well. So you can support small-scale farmers, like in farmers market, or the whole world can eat less meat so that the world don't need to produce so much meat and we can close down the factory farms. Okay. Okay, so if you want more information about factory farms, you can watch on YouTube a documentary called Food, Inc. Okay, you can go to YouTube to search for it and watch it. It talks about factory farming and ending factory farming. Okay, now we talk about air, which is greenhouse gas. Now we can see that the greenhouse gas is increasing very fast, and CO2, carbon dioxide, is now at about 415 parts per million, up from 278 parts per million. So an increase of about 140 parts per million ever since the Industrial Revolution began, okay, in the 1800s onwards, okay? And CH4 methane is now about 1.9 parts per million, up from 0.6 parts per million, increase of about 40 ppm of CO2. So you can see all the greenhouse gas are increasing very fast. Okay, and with increased greenhouse gas, we have more polar ice that is melting, we have sea level rising, and we have methane gas being released from permafrost in the North and the South Pole. We have more disasters, we have more forests dying, more forest fire, and less food and water resource. Okay, so we all need to talk about reducing greenhouse gas. Okay, and Greenland in the Arctic, you can find that in 2020, one piece of Greenland, about 113 square kilometers, is about bigger than Paris and about 1/6 the size of Singapore. It actually break from Arctic area and drop into the ocean. Okay, that's because the Arctic temperature has increased about 3 degrees, and that's about 3 times more than the global average. Okay, and we have more droughts nowadays. Okay, in USA, America in 2021, 55% of America is under drought condition in August to September 2021. So you can find more than half of America is under very extreme drought condition in 2021. And we have increased floods as well. And in Malaysia in 2022, which is the beginning of last year, there's a 1 in 100 years flood there, and 1 month of rainfall in 1 day. Okay, in 1 day, 1 whole month of rainfall, and you can see there's flooding in 8 states, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, and all these. So all these areas are flooded. So we have more increased floods nowadays as well. Now in Singapore, we also have increased flash floods. Okay, like 2021, we have 2 big flash floods. 20th of August, where about 1 month of rainfall in 3 hours. Okay, 1 month of rainfall in 3 hours. So you can see all the rains are actually reaching waist level in the roads. Okay, and this is Bukit Timah Road, 24th August in Bukit Timah area in Singapore. So you can see the roads are all flooded and the cars barely can move. Okay. So the temperature in the world has increased by about 1.1 degrees. That's global average. And in the Arctic side, it has increased about 3 degrees, 3 times more. So if you want to keep the planet in a safe zone, we have to limit the temperature increase to a 1.5 degrees increase. And to do that, the whole world have to cut greenhouse gas by 50% by 2030. That's why they tell us we have about 7 years to cut greenhouse gas by half. And that's a very tough target, because currently from United Nations, they tell us that with all the countries honor their pledge, like America, China were to honor their pledge to reduce greenhouse gas, the world still will increase temperature by 3 degrees. So the world's government are doing all they can to reduce greenhouse gas, but we cannot rely on the government itself because all their pledge will still bring to a 3 degrees increase. So governments are doing their part, but individuals, citizens, that you and I, everybody have to join in to reduce greenhouse gas from the lifestyle side as well, okay? So if you look at global warming, you find that deforestation, cutting down trees, cause about 17% of climate change. Agriculture, especially growing animals, cause another 14%. So if you add these two together, cutting trees, burning trees, and growing food cause 30% of the world's climate change. Okay, so we have to address that as well. Okay, transport, your aeroplanes and all this is 13%. Power plant industry is slightly more than half, 56%. So we can do things like reduce greenhouse gas from transport sector and also from agriculture sector. If you look at greenhouse gas, transport sectors, all your airplanes and all this combined is only 13%. But growing animals like chickens, pigs, cows, that itself produce 15 to 18% of the world's greenhouse gas from United Nations report. Okay, WWF report says it goes up to 50%. So for any case, we talk about green vehicle, like green cars, electric cars and all this. So we also have to talk about green diet, means eating less meat and going more towards a plant-based diet, okay, to reduce the amount of greenhouse gas produced by the animals. Okay, so if you look at producing 1 kg of veggies or beans, 1 kg will produce about 2 kg of greenhouse gas. Producing 1 kg of chicken will produce about 6 kg of greenhouse gas. But 1 kg of beef and mutton will produce about 30 kgs to 40 kg of greenhouse gas. That is 15 to 20 times more than the veggies. So that's why they say if you want to protect the environment, please avoid eating red meats. Give up eating beef and mutton, because that will help to reduce a lot of greenhouse gas. Okay, because beef and mutton produce 15 times to 20 times more greenhouse gas than veggies and beans. Okay. Now, if you look at the whole world, there's about 1.5 billion cows on the planet. If you add all the 1.5 billion cows together and become one country, they will become the third largest greenhouse gas emitting country. Okay, the first is China, emitting 10 billions of greenhouse gas per year. The second is United States, emitting 5.3 billion tons of CO2 per year. And if you add all the world's cows together, 1.5 billion cows, they will produce already 5 billion tons of CO2 per year. Okay, 5,000 tons of CO2 per year. Okay, 5 billion tons of CO2 per year. So that's why they say please avoid eating beef, because that causes a lot of greenhouse gas. Okay. Now you can eat less meat to reduce greenhouse gas. You can use green energy like solar and wind. You can take public transport. You can save electricity, and you can do the 3 R's. Okay. If you want to eat less meat, you can also eat things like meat alternatives. Okay, meat alternatives nowadays, they are actually taste like meat, but they are made from plants. Like Beyond Burger is from America. It tastes like beef and meat, okay, but it's actually mixed from plant. And it uses very much less resources. You can see a peer-reviewed life cycle analysis for this Beyond Meat find that producing Beyond Meat actually uses 99% less water, 93% less land, emits 90% less greenhouse gas, and uses almost 50% less energy. So you get a product which is almost tastes like meat, but actually it uses very much less resources than the meat itself. Okay, and Omni pork is meat that plant-based meat that tastes like pork, and it is from Hong Kong. That also uses almost 70% less energy to produce. Okay, so it's now very available in Singapore. If you go to big supermarkets like NTUC and Giant, you can find that they have a corner there called plant-based meat, and they're selling those products there at very cheap prices, like $5 for this chicken plant-based nugget, and chicken style strips. They are all made from plants. $5 to $9. To those from America is about $15. That's the most expensive. Okay, so if you want to buy, just buy those from Malaysia or buy those from Taiwan. They are cheaper, like $5 and $9, and they taste like meat, and it is very eco-friendly to eat them. Okay, if you don't like mock meat, then eat lots of fruits and veggies. Okay, so currently humans' eco footprint exceeds the world's capacity to regenerate by 56%. We are using 1.5 planets worth of resources to live in 1 year. So we must reduce the 1.5 planets down to only 1 planet's resources in 1 year. Okay, so if everybody consumes resource the way Singaporeans do, the whole world we will need 3 planets. So 1 Singaporean's eco footprint is about 33 Africans. So we have to really reduce that, because if everybody consume resource like Singaporeans, we are going to need 3 planets. Okay, so Singaporeans, we eat about 70 to 80 kg of meat per person per year, but the global average is 40 kg. So we have to look at reducing our meat consumption by half. United Nations recommend wealthy nations to reduce meat consumption by half, and we can free up enough food to feed 1.2 billion people. Okay, so if you look at the WWF report, they tell us if you talk about conservation only, that means plant trees and reduce deforestation and all this, it can only bring the curve not back to where it is. Okay, it's not enough to bend the curve back to where it is. If you want to bend the curve back to where it is, you must not only conserve, means protect the forests and plant trees, you also have to reduce consumption, means reduce meat consumption by half at least. Okay, so conservation actions like increase protected areas and reduce deforestation can bring us somewhere, but it's not enough. We must also pair with reduced consumption, like reduce meat consumption by half, reduce food waste by half. Then we can bend the curve back to where it is, and the animal population can come back. Okay, so consumption will bring us here, which is not enough. We must pair consumption with reduce. Not conservation can only be here, so we must pair the conservation with reduced consumption in order to bend the curve to bring the animals back and protect biodiversity. Okay. Now, what can companies do? Company can turn up aircon by 1 degree, keep the temperature within 23 to 25 degrees, and adopt recycling of paper, save electricity. We can also cater vegetarian meals during green events, and this is happening in a lot of countries. Okay, the companies, when they have green events, like green workshops and all this. They cater vegetarian meals for their employees. Okay, and this is Facebook or Meta. They actually have an Earth Awareness Week, and during that week last year, okay, they actually in their cafe 30, which is their free cafe for 1,000 staff, 80% of the food there served is vegan food. Okay, because they want to protect the environment. And on normal days, 50% is vegan food. But on the Earth Awareness Week, 80% of the food is vegan food. Okay. So what can companies do? Companies can also support tree planting, organize beach cleaning, and collaborate with environment organization to preserve nature, like Nature Society, Sea Shepherd, and Jane Goodall Institute to protect nature. Okay, so what can individuals do? What can I do? For example, we can avoid eating fish like tuna and shark fins. We can avoid eating beef and mutton, which is the most environmentally costly. And we can adopt meatless days. Means every Monday we don't eat meat, okay? Meatless Mondays, for example. Okay, this is a clip on that.
Meatless Monday is a simple idea. One day a week, cut out meat. This small change in our diet is good for our health and the health of the planet. It conserves water, saves energy, and reduces CO2. The idea has now spread from schools, restaurants, bloggers, and celebrities in America.
Okay, so basically, Meatless Monday means every Monday they ask their citizens not to eat meat. Okay, if you don't eat meat every Monday for 1 year, it's 52 veggie days, you can actually reduce greenhouse gas by 220 kg. It's like planting 10 trees to help the environment. Okay, 1 veggie day a week for 1 year, 52 veggie days, you save 220 kg of greenhouse gas, like planting 10 trees. Okay, if 5.5 million Singapore population were to support Meatless Monday for 1 year, we'll reduce CO2 by 1.2 million tons. It's like planting 55 million trees to help the planet. Okay, and if you go Meatless Monday for 1 year, you actually save 28 animals or 30 animals' lives. Okay, and even better, if you just go veggie 1 day, you actually save 1,600 liters of water. Okay, because it takes about 4,200 liters of water to produce 3 meat meals, and it takes only 2,600 liters of water to produce 3 veggie meals. Okay, so eating 1 day veggie save 1,600 liters of water. That's like saving 10 days of water you can use at home. Okay, so if you eat 1 day veggie, you actually save 10 days of water you can use at home. If you go 1 month veggie, you save 10 months of water you can use at home. Okay, and Meatless Monday is now happening in Singapore. Okay, you can see that NTU, which is the environment group in Earthling environment group in NTU, actually goes Meatless Monday ever since 2016. Okay, so they promote Meatless Monday in their campus, and Phu Thich Hospital promote Meatless Monday to improve health of the patient ever since 2017. And these are the different organizations promoting Meatless Monday. Okay, and the other things we can do is plant trees, save water, take public transport, and support environment organizations. Okay, so depending on where you are, okay, move more towards a veggie diet. Okay, like a lot of environmentalists, they are flexitarian, means they eat mostly plant-based and only meat on special occasions. Okay, so you move more towards the veg diet. Okay, as much as possible. If you start from 1 day veggie a week, you can increase to 2 days or 3 days as you know more. Okay, for those who can, you can go vegan. I'm a vegan for 10 years and vegetarian for the past 30 years. So it's quite easy to be vegan or vegetarian in Singapore. I've been that for the past 30 years. Okay, so for those who can go vegan, because vegan will help the environment a lot. Okay, the vegan benefits is if one person were to go vegan for 1 year, you save 1,500 kg of CO2. It's like planting 70 trees. You save 588,000 liters of water. It's like 10 years of water you can save, you can use at home. And one person going vegan for 1 year, you actually save 200 animals' lives. And you have improved health and more peace of mind. And globally, if the whole world were to go plant-based by 2050, 8.1 million human lives will be saved. Food-related greenhouse gas will reduce by 70%, and $1 trillion will be saved because of improved healthcare. Okay, this is from USA report in 2016. Okay, so it's quite easy to go vegan or go vegetarian. You can download a free Happy Cow app from the Google Store. Okay, you can download it into your handphone. Wherever you go, you just open the Google app. You just open the Happy Cow app. It's like a veggie GPS. It shows you the veggie restaurants around your area. Okay, so you can download the Happy Cow app into your handphone, and just wherever you go, you just open it. It will show you the veggie restaurants around you. Okay, you can also go to this Planet Earth, which is from Supreme Master TV. You can go to this QR code to go in and watch free 15 minutes documentary on different aspects of protecting the environment, including reduce plastic waste and also reduce greenhouse gas and all this, okay? And you can actually watch Cowspiracy. It's about the impact of environment industry on the environment. You can watch on YouTube, okay? And we have a short reflection here. Newton's third law tells us that for every action or force in nature, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So good begets good and bad begets bad. And the Bible tells us, as you sow, so shall you reap. So we must do things to protect life so that we can be protected ourselves. Okay, so now we are facing a lot of bad consequences like pandemics and disease, a lot of disasters, and even wars, and we are looking at mass extinction of humans as well. So if you want to avoid all these big bad consequences, we have to protect life. Okay, things such as stop factory farming, no more animal cruelty to the animals, okay. Stop deforestation, stop overfishing, and stop overusing the world's resources. Okay, so we must trend lightly on the planet, use less resources, be frugal so that everybody can have enough thing to use. Okay, and Mahatma Gandhi tell us the world has enough for everybody's needs, but not for everybody's greeds. Okay, and Albert Einstein tell us nothing will benefit human health and increase chance of survival for the life on Earth as much as evolution to a vegetarian diet. And this is Albert Einstein, the Nobel physicist. And this is a spiritual master, Supreme Master Cheng Ai. They tell us a vegan diet will stop global warming, stop all cruelty, and stop food shortages, stop world hunger and disease, and prevent deadly disease. Okay, and you will save a lot of tax money, and you will save medical bills to build a better world. So Supreme Master Cheng Hai is asking people, please go vegan to save the planet and protect yourself. Okay, that's the end. We are from Earth Society. You can get more information from us at www.earthsocietysg.com. And so that's the end. Can everybody just say, be veg, go green to save the planet? 1, 2, 3. Be veg,
go green
to save the planet.
Save the planet.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, is there any questions I can, yeah,
yes,
quickly
if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I had one question is what is a dead zone? How do you define a dead zone in the sea?
Okay, dead zones are like okay, dead zones are actually an area where when you dive down, you find that there's no life at all in the whole patch of area. Okay, that is because all the fish has died in those areas, and that are dead zones. And the dead zones are very large. Okay, so if you look at the Gulf of Mexico, the dead zones are a few hundred square kilometers. It's very, very large areas down there. So you can see there's used to be only 200 dead zones, but currently we have about 400 dead zones, doubled already. So you have more and more of those as you fish more and more of the fish out of the ocean, and as you destroy more of the corals, because corals are actually habitats for the fish. If the corals die down, now half the corals are gone. If you wait until all the corals are gone, then no more fish left in the ocean. Yeah.
Right. That's really sad, when we get insights like this. Team, any questions? Anybody?
Okay, let's see. There's a chat. Okay, so I checked from the comments. They say in India, communities follows as part of the religious practice not eating meat for 2 or 3 days a week. Okay, so those are good practice, and this ancient practice make a lot of sense. That's one of the comments. Yeah, so you can go back to the Indian root. Actually, the Indian belief is ahimsa. That is central to all your teachings, right? So ahimsa is actually not hurting life. And if you can embrace that old tradition of ahimsa, you can save a lot of lives, and we can actually save the planet by saving the lives, because we need all the animals to help the ecosystem. The animals are helping the ecosystems. Humans are destroying the ecosystem. So what a shame on that is, right? We are supposed to be the most intelligent animal on the planet, but we are the ones that are destroying it. So we have to protect the environment, protect the forest, protect the ocean, and protect the animals so that the animals can help to bring back the ecosystem.
That's true. Bring back the balance. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
So, team, in case you would like to read more of articles and resources, I am pasting the Earth Society website link in the chat box. I'm sure a lot of us have got really intrigued with the insights that Mr. Low has shared here. Shrini, would you want to share some thoughts of yours?
Sure, Anu. And first of all, Mr. Lowe, thank you so much for very insightful knowing about your initiatives, which has been driving the Earth Society and bringing a lot of awareness. And I believe these awareness are really good for all human beings to know how we can protect our Mother Earths. Okay.
Yes, correct.
And as you rightly said, right, killing is not the right things. Okay.
Yes.
So if we think on those parameters, definitely we'll focus how we can save our Earth.
Yes,
so
correct.
that's really nice to hear. And Anu, we have any other questions before we end the session? Then
So there are no questions that have come in, Shrini. There were a lot of comments in the chat box about the wonderful insights that, as Mr. Low was sharing, we were sharing comments about how we as human beings also we ingest so much of chemicals if we eat from food farms where the animals are so cruelly given bad diet.
Yeah, correct. In fact, all these atrocities like wars and pandemics and all this comes about because of our ill treatment of animals. If you look at the animals in the factory farms, you're actually giving them a life sentence for the whole of their lifespan, and they live in cruelty and in kind of a very mistreatment in the animal factory farms. So we really have to stop those cruel practices. At least go back to the natural way of farming.
Natural way.
At least that is the least we can do is to do all that. But as we protect more lives, then it goes to the same. As we protect more lives, our lives will be protected. But now we are killing lives at billions and trillions per year. So we really have to look at really reducing all the killing. Yeah. To protect ourselves. Yeah. Correct.
Mr. Low, we have one questions from our in the chat window. I'll just read it out. What about the health benefits we get from non-veg, which is meat, like iron and protein? So
Okay. So actually, all the nutrients that humans need, we actually can find it in abundance in the vegetable kingdom. Okay, so you can see if you want more health information, you can. I will send some of the websites to you after the talk. Information on environmental protection and also on health, so that you can get more information. So just off the hand, if you want proteins, you can get a lot of proteins from legumes and beans. You can have plenty of proteins from beans, and there are better proteins than meat itself, because meat comes with protein, but also they come with toxins. They also come with disease, and they also come with a lot of even antibiotics in the meat itself. Okay, so if you eat the plants like beans and all this, you get all the proteins, and you don't get all the bad things like chemicals and growth hormones and all the things inside the meat itself. Okay, and if you want extra boost, you can eat things like seaweed. Seaweed has very high in magnesium. Okay, and also you can also eat things like flaxseed, which is high in omega-3. Flaxseed and also other plants for different nutrients. Yeah, plant kingdom have all the nutrients that human need. Actually.
Yes. And there is a conception like the vegan can't afford because everyone can't afford because it's expensive, because it's more money.
Okay,
they have to
for
afford.
natural vegans like those buying all the fruits and veggies is actually not expensive. But if you want to buy vegan meat substitutes, that is when the expense come in. Okay, if you want to buy things like Beyond Burger and Impossible Meat from USA, those are very expensive. One packet can be $15 in Singapore, for example. Yeah, but if you want to buy mock meats, you can buy those from Taiwan or from Malaysia. They have been there for 20 years already. In fact, Beyond Meat and all these are recent players, only the past 5 years or so. But the mock meat brands from Taiwan and from Malaysia are there for 20 years, and they are very cheap. They are about 1/3 the price of the US Beyond Meat. Yeah, you buy those, they taste almost the same, and then they are much cheaper. You can try those. Yeah.
And thanks to one of our colleague, Claudia, I think she responded in the Teams chat as well. For vegetables, yes, we can also grow our own vegetables and purchase from a local farmers rather going for.
Yes, correct. And also, if you want to talk about, I saw one on a lot of bodybuilders in India.
Yes.
Only depend on veg diet. If you want into sports and health, you can watch one documentary called Game Changer. It is made from USA, and that Game Changer documentary tells people about the strongest people in the world. A lot of athletes, they are turning vegan just because it offers them faster recover time. Because for the athletes, they train very hard. They find that with a meat diet, they have a lot of toxins in their body, and it takes a long time to get rid of those toxins. Once they change to vegan diet, they find that their body get rid of the toxin faster, and they can train more, and the recovery time shorten a lot.
Absolutely.
That's why a lot of Olympic runners and all this, they are vegan or vegetarian, because they find that their recovery time improve a lot once they change to vegetarian and vegan diet. Yeah, your body don't have to work so hard to throw away all the toxins, because there's less toxins in the veg diet.
Absolutely agree, and really insightful to know that. So we are already a bit of
the time is
out, but I would like to just close a note. First of all, it's been such an honor to be part of today's Inspire session for me, especially. And on behalf of entire Comscope team, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest, Mr. Low, who is the Vice President of Earth Society, for accepting our invitation and for being with us here today and sharing the insights. Sir, the initiatives driven by you and your team, what the Earth Society is doing to contribute to the cause of safe planet Earth, has truly inspired us. And thanks for sharing an inspirational journey of Earth Society. And wishing you and your team all the best for the coming years, and do a lot of wonderful initiatives to be continued towards save planet Earth. And I would also like to thank our colleague Rachel for connecting all of us with you and having this wonderful session. I would like to thank each and everyone on the session today for being here and making this day a wonderful and memorable one. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And thank you, sir, for coming forward with us.
I'll ask Rachel to get some feedback from you all. So you can write some feedback, and then she can compile and then email to me, and I can put on our website. Yeah.
We will definitely do that.
So. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, and
thanks, everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Low. Thank you, Rachel, Srini, and team.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, team.
India, good.